Divihirajya Adu organizes a special dinner night to celebrate 55 years of service to the nation. The dinner, which also marks 55 years of broadcasting in the country, was attended by a large number of former and current employees of public service media, PSM. The dinner was punctuated by performances from popular Bodaber group Habes and lucky draws among company staff. Divihirajya Adu came into existence on the 29th of December 1962 in the name of Male Radio. Waste Management Corporation Limited WAMCO reveals plan to conduct a 10-day survey on the current condition of waste management in Maldives. WAMCO revealed that this survey is expected to analyze the best practice of waste management for the nation.
As per information provided by Waste Management Corporation Limited WAMCO, the Waste Management Assessment Survey is all set to kickstart on the 1st of next month and is expected to run for a 10-day period. WAMCO further stated that this survey would assess the types and amount of waste produced in different households of Maldives. The survey, which would be conducted in 2 shifts, would run from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. and from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. every day. WAMCO revealed that this survey is expected to analyze the best practice for waste management for the nation by assessing waste management in households of Male, Vilimale and Hulumale. The survey, which is carried out under the umbrella of Safu Rajya campaign, would be carried out in various other parts of the nation as well. Operations Manager of WAMCO Ahmad Shan stated that information would be disseminated to the public on how to categorize waste based on its characteristics and best practices Maldives currently has in the management of waste. Ahmad Shan further stated that the survey is expected to strengthen the functioning of waste management process in Maldives and stated that WAMCO aims to reduce the amount of waste produced in the country by formulating new recycling techniques.
A disability is a condition or function judged to be significantly impaired relative to the usual standard of an individual of their group. As persons with disabilities require distinctive attention and care, the administration of President Abdullah Yamin Abdul Gayoom has taken several initiatives to tackle the challenges faced by such individuals in their daily lives. But the real question here is whether the state alone is responsible for providing a better life for persons with disabilities. This next report highlights the current situation of such individuals in the Maldivian society.
As per the latest statistics of United Nations, persons with disabilities, the world's largest minority, have generally poorer health, lower academic achievements, fewer economic opportunities, and higher rates of poverty than people without disabilities. President Yamin has taken up the challenge to change these statistics for the better and has made notable progress in providing such individuals with fair chances of education, employment, and income generation. Various non-governmental organizations and companies have also joined in the administration's effort to provide PWDs with the required platform. The implementation of the legislation to secure the rights of PWDs in the form of Disabilities Act in the year 2010 paved way for various opportunities for PWDs in engaging in the society. However, the true essence of the law was extracted via efforts to that effect by the current administration. One such major stride is the redesigning of the Majidi Magu, the main road of capital city Male. The new road has been developed in a way that allows persons with specific physical disabilities ease in movement. But the biggest question here is whether the government alone has to shoulder the responsibility for the betterment of life for people with disabilities. The question is surfaced due to the negligence of the society as a whole on their responsibilities towards persons with disabilities. One such instance is the illegal parking of vehicles, which restricts movement for people who use wheelchairs. It is high time we, as a nation, take a stand in contributing towards a better life for persons with disabilities. This would be best achieved through shouldering our individual responsibilities as citizens.
Maldives Ports Limited MPL hands over the construction of 3 MPL towers to be constructed as part of the HIA project to a Singaporean company. According to MPL, the handover was officiated with signing of agreements on the 28th of this month. Under the effort of the current administration to provide adequate accommodation for citizens, 1,200 square feet of land has been designated for the construction of the 3 towers of 14 stories of MPL. MPL further stated that the towers would have 3-room apartments and 1-room studio apartments. Earlier this week, Maldives Transport and Contracting Company MTCC also handed over the construction of 2 towers of 15 stories to a company of Singapore. The HIA project, which is a key initiative of President Yamin to provide shelter and accommodation for the nation, has designated towers for various companies. This project is expected to help manage the influx of people to the Greater Mali region. Famous Bollywood singer Mika Singh arrives in Maldives to perform at the New Year Countdown show, Welcome 2018. Mika Singh is an Indian singer, songwriter, composer and performer. Mika is a playback singer who has sung for famous Bollywood movies such as Singh is King, Jab We Met and Ishqiya. Mika expressed his delight on arrival to Maldives and stated that he is looking forward to perform for the Maldivian crowd.
I'm so excited to perform tomorrow with the lovely audience, especially this is for the first time I'm performing with Rahat. He's like my brother, and inshallah it's going to be a super cool night. The audience are going to be crazy because first Rahat Bhai is starting the show as he's a living legend. Then I'm going to rock in Punjabi style. So I heard a lot about Maldives, so I'm so lucky that I'm performing for my lovely fans and would love to see the heaven on earth.
Mika Singh would be joined on the New Year Countdown show along with big names in Bollywood such as Rahat Fateh Ali Khan. The Welcome 2018 show would unveil the total number of tourist arrivals to the country in the year 2017 as well. Pension Administration's office reveals that the number of companies abiding by the retirement pension scheme has increased in the past few years. As per the latest statistics, which was issued on 25th of December, the office has received complaints from a total of 583 companies. These companies were listed due to negligence on registration issues and improvidence of pension to relevant staff. Pension Administration's office stated that the office would take action against these companies. As per the Pension Act, at least 7% of the staff salary is to be committed to the pension scheme. This is applicable for staff between the ages of 16 and 65. Fourteen people died of asphyxiation when a massive fire ripped through a popular hangout in Mumbai early Friday, which, according to the local police, happened due to fire safety negligence.
The blaze occurred shortly after midnight at 1 above a pub on the 3rd floor of a 4-story building in central Mumbai after the shed made of bamboo and tarpaulin caught fire. Witnesses said the fire spawn spread to the other restaurants, including the Mojo Bistro pub. An elevated view of the fire scene showed charred tables and chairs, broken windows, and a heap of ashes on the terrace where Mojo Bistro was located. The bamboo roof also collapsed to the ground eventually. There was a complete sense of panic and chaos among those who were inside the building, recalled some of the witnesses. As people tried to escape through the stairway, there was a commotion everywhere, added Salve. Firefighters took more than 3 hours to extinguish the blaze, media reports said. According to the local police, about 54 injured people were taken to the hospital. A majority of those killed were women who were attending a birthday party at the restaurant. Doctors said most of them died due to smoke inhalation. The cause of the fire remains unknown at the moment. The ill-fated building houses offices of news and entertainment channels, radio stations, restaurants and hotels. Telecast of a few TV channels and broadcast of radio stations have been stalled, reportedly due to the equipment damage. According to media reports, the police has filed a complaint against the owner of the One Above pub on charges of causing death due to the severe fire safety negligence. The restaurants were situated in the sprawling Kamala Mills compound, which has been redeveloped with upscale restaurants and offices and has become a popular night spot among locals. A social activist who only gave his name as Mangesh said many buildings in the crowded area ignore fire safety protocols or are poorly maintained.
We are a local citizen in this area. Every time we go there and complain about that. But later on, last October month, I am written complaint in G South ward. There is some 50s or more than 50s pubs, hotels in this area. There is I mention a large complaint against that. There is encroachment in that. Inside the encroachment is there no any guidelines followed by fire brigades and all that.
In the past, Mangesh has lodged multiple complaints to the local authorities, but nothing was ever done.
Thousands of Palestinians take to the streets of Gaza and the occupied West Bank for the fourth consecutive Friday in protests against U.S. President Donald Trump's recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital, which outraged Palestinians and many Middle Eastern states on the 6th of December. In the West Bank cities of Ramallah, Bethlehem and Jericho and along the Gaza-Israel border, Palestinian protesters, some throwing rocks and setting tires alight, confronted Israeli soldiers, and in Gaza, about 1,500 people attended a rally protesting Trump's Jerusalem move. Israeli troops fired tear gas at protesters in the West Bank. Palestinian health officials said at least 20 protesters were wounded. Demonstrations, however, appeared less intense in scale than the previous Friday rallies called over Trump's announcement. Palestinians want the capital of an independent Palestinian state to be in East Jerusalem, which Israel captured in the 1967 Middle East War and annexed in a move never recognized internationally. Syrian rebels begin to evacuate an enclave in the southwestern Syria under a surrender deal with the government as the Syrian army thrust into the northwest, the insurgents' main remaining stronghold.
A field officer said that once armed men leave a Beit Jin, the village would return to the homeland Syria. Beit Jin's location near Israeli-controlled territory has made it a strategic flashpoint given the role of Lebanon's Hezbollah group, Israel's sworn enemy in fighting the rebels there. The Syrian army's advance against rebels in the northwest involved bitter fighting and intense airstrikes on Thursday and Friday, according to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights. The northwestern area around Idlib province is the rebels' most important territory. They also hold a large area bordering Jordan and the Israeli-controlled Golan Heights near Dara in the southwest, as well as scattered pockets elsewhere, including eastern Ghouta near Damascus. Government forces and allied militias have forced numerous rebel pockets to surrender since Russia brought in heavy air power to help them in 2015, pushing the insurgents into an ever smaller number of enclaves.
The candidate of the opposition Coalition for Democratic Change, CDC, George Weah, takes the lead in Liberia's presidential runoff election, the country's electoral body said on Thursday.
In the first briefing since polls closed, the Electoral Commission announced Weah had won 65% of the vote in 11 out of 15 counties, with Vice President Joseph Boakai garnering 38%. This is country's first democratic transition in over 70 years. Observers from National Democratic Institute NDI said, unlike during the previous polls in Liberia, there was no election-related violence or major incident that resulted in loss of life. Weah supporters took to the streets celebrating the lead in the presidential runoff. Spontaneous celebrations broke out across Liberia's capital, Monrovia. Weah takes on the presidency after the incumbent Alan Johnson Sirleaf's 12 years run. Liberia is one of the poorest countries in the world. More than 80% of the population live in extreme poverty and hundreds of thousands of children are out of school. The public have high hopes for the president-elect to fix their country's problems. In his first 100 days as the country's president, while some of the Weir supporters want him to take a closer look into the system, others want him to concentrate on road problems, and some want him to pay close attention towards relevant agriculture issues.
Serbia names Mladen Krstić as coach on a permanent basis after a 2-month period as their caretaker.
Former Yugoslavia defender Krstić took over in October from Maslin after the latter has steered Serbia to next year's World Cup finals, their first major tournament as an independent nation in 8 years. Despite his accomplishment, Maslin was annexed by FSS as Serbia's performances under him were deemed unconvincing, and he also came to loggerheads with his bosses over refusing to inject fresh blood into the side. Krstić did exactly that in Serbia's 2-0 win over China and a 1-1 draw with South Korea in November's friendlies, having unleashed a pack of young players headed by sought-after Lazio midfielder Sergej Milinkovic-Savic. The 22-year-old playmaker has been in an impressive form for the Series A club since he joined from the Belgian side in 2015, but Maslin argued that he was incompatible with his rigid 3-4-3 formation, which worked for the national side in qualifiers. Serbia, who advanced from Europe's Group D ahead of Ireland and Wales, were drawn alongside 5-time World Cup winners Brazil, Switzerland and Costa Rica in Group E of the 32-team tournament in Russia. They start their campaign against Costa Rica in Samara on June 17, Krstić's competitive debut as head coach at any level, followed by games with Switzerland in Kalingrad on 22nd of June and Brazil in Moscow 5 days later.
People gather on the beach in Concepcion Bamba in the Mexican state of Oaxaca to release new hatchlings of endangered olive ridley turtles back into the wild.
Hundreds of thousands of olive ridley turtles usually land on Oaxaca's Pacific beaches as part of an annual egg-laying migration. As the time came to release the turtles, local families gathered to place the young turtles on the sand and then watch them as they trudged across into the sea. The purpose of such mass release events is to create an awareness of the local turtle population. The eggs are a traditional part of the diet on Oaxaca's sweltering coastal plains, where markets openly display them alongside turtle meat despite laws prohibiting their sale. Once slaughtered in their hundreds of thousands for meat and leather, omnivorous olive ridleys have yet to recover from centuries of overexploitation. Named for its olive green carapace or shell, the olive ridley sea turtle has been listed as endangered by the World Conservation Union since 1986 because of the decline in numbers.
And that's all we have for you right now. Thank you for watching. Have a very pleasant day.